Going Legion, as really like always, and this is it. This is the final Phoenix trailer, if I'm correct with the title and it's saying final trailer. I'm pretty excited for it. I mean, I thought that the Apocalypse one was pretty good. The Apocalypse looked pretty bad though, but still, it was a pretty good movie. I think Days of Future Past is probably still one of my favorites. I think that was just the most epic one. It they used CGI when they needed it, and then like Apocalypse should have just been something like that. 20th century, when it comes to X-Men, has done a lot of mistakes when it comes to the characters. Like Juggernaut, it was a real person. It should have been just CGI. It shouldn't have been a guy in a stupid costume. And same with Apocalypse. It should have been something a little better. Like Thanos style of, that's what Apocalypse should have been. It should have been like how Thanos, because that's what Apocalypse is like 8'6" or some shit. Dude's massive. Yeah, I did not like how they did Apocalypse, but the movies are always interesting to watch. Dark Phoenix, I'm still interested to see it. I don't think this is going to be any better than the original third one that came out forever ago with the Dark Phoenix, because that one was pretty campy as well. But who knows? Let's just get into it, check it out, see what it's all about. Pray to God it's good.
Ladies and gentlemen of NASA, this is Charles Xavier. Help is on the way.
We're doing space missions now. Cool.
We get the astronauts, we bring them home.
This is like an origin almost movie.
Heat signature's rising fast.
Not
We gotta
really.
get out of here.
Where's Jean?
Where is she?
It's more like a Spider-Man's. This is an origin. No. I got
She should be
confused.
dead.
Did you hear what the kids are calling you? Phoenix.
Hello, Jean.
Who are you?
The better question is, who are you?
Cassandra Nova.
Something's happening to me. When I lose control, bad things happen. But it feels good.
That power destroyed everything it ever came into contact with. Until you. The Xmen fear you. And what they fear,
They seek to destroy.
She'll kill us all.
The girl dies.
She's still our friend.
She's not Jean anymore.
Are you threatening me?
That's right.
That would be a bad idea.
I'm really interested to see how this ends. I really am. Because there's so many characters that could just whoop her ass, man. But this is movie stuff. Movies is always disappointing too. Like, it always looks good, and then I watch it and I'm like, man, I can't not compare it to the comics. I just can't. Because comics is canon. This isn't. That's why I always like these things in cartoon form. Because cartoon, you could just do stuff. You could be closer to the comics. You could do whatever you want. But big budget movies is alright. I kind of liked how Magneto thought he was going to be doing something. They've always, even in comics, there's always been plots where, like, Jean just doesn't take, like, no, I guess not. I don't think her telekinesis is stronger than his magnetism, control over that. So if she tried to take his helmet off, he would just keep it together, in that way. Because, well, now that I think about it, actually, it is a little disappointing. So for anybody that doesn't know, Magneto can actually manipulate metal. He doesn't just move it. I don't mean he just manipulate. Like, he can take something and he can shape it. He can take metal and shape it to anything he wants, right? There's the time where he ripped out the adamantium skeleton in Wolverine's body. He is the only other person on the planet, I think, maybe one other, that can actually, and I think he's the only one that can manipulate adamantium after it's been cooled. You know, that he can just do that. And so normally his helmet that would be getting ripped apart, he would be able to fuse it back together. But because it's the Phoenix, his control over magnetism as an Omega level is being, you know, dominated. He can't outpower a cosmic entity. Not only that, the Phoenix is the only version of the Phoenix in the entire multiverse. I've said that before. If you didn't know that, then like there is multiple Jean Greys in X-Men and Marvel worlds, but there's a few things with that there's only one. So every reality has an eternity, an entity called Eternity, and then there is one big eternity that is for the entire multiverse. There's one Phoenix. There's multiple Galactuses, I believe. Yeah. And then I've said the Annihilus. I think he lives in the... I don't even remember what his fucking world's called. It's like the antimatter world, or I think that's DC, but it's pretty much like that. It's the Annihilus universe. I just cannot remember what it's called. There's only one of those in all the multiverse. So that's kind of like the power you're dealing with. You're dealing with a cosmic being that represents past, present, and future psionic energy. All the psionic energy that has, is, or ever will exist in reality comes from, or is, the Phoenix is a representation of that power, transcending most things. And there's only, and that's for the entire, you got to remember, it is the energy not just of one reality's timeline, but all realities' timeline. You know, there of all the so like I said, there's multiple Jean Greys and Xavier's Xmen and Cables and all that stuff throughout the multiverse. There's all, you know, Psylocke and all these other people that Cassandra Nova, all these beings that there's just these different versions throughout the multiverse. The Phoenix is the representation of all psionic energy, past, present, and future, for all the multiverse. That's a huge, crazy... Even in the comic books, I'm surprised the Phoenix actually isn't stronger, isn't considered to be super tier. I mean, the one above all isn't really a cosmic being, I don't think. It's like a reality warper on a cosmic level, pretty much. Kind of like how the Marquis of Death was almost as strong, if not as strong as the one above all, because he could just destroy reality. And he did so. He destroyed a bunch of realities. Probably one of my favorite characters. But like the Living Tribunal, I think is technically not stronger because his power is in a different area. But I would consider the Phoenix to be something of an authority in the universe. But the Phoenix just kind of roams. Like the one above all, Living Tribunal, Chaos and Order, Eternity, and all the other beings that represent that kind of balance. The Phoenix is not one of those that's ever mentioned. Mostly because I think it's connected to the X-Men, and a lot of those Eternity and a lot of those other gods or gods of stuff like that, Chaos and all that in time, I think are mostly connected to Avengers. I think that might be the disconnect there, why we don't see the Phoenix in a much more grandiose authority. Because we've seen the comics, we've read it, and she's just not always that. She's never mentioned in an Avengers kind of scenario, unless it's like X-Men versus the Avengers, which was a great story. But I'm going to stop rambling. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see what every video I'm doing next. Later, guys.